Hello and welcome back. Detectives here have been taking some very valuable information on the phone since we came off the air, and it looks as though we have some particularly important calls on the Dawn Ashworth case. For that, Nick.
Indeed, that was our first reconstruction tonight, the final hours of a Leicestershire schoolgirl, Dawn Ashworth. On Tuesday, July the 31st, she was walking home just half a mile from where another girl had been murdered in 1983. Dawn was sexually assaulted and strangled. It was a quarter of a mile from her home. Now, soon after she was last seen alive, two motorists saw a blonde youth sprinting across Leicester Road. Now, Attorney Painter, I gather someone who claims to have been that man has phoned.
Yes, one of many phone calls is from a youth who alleges that he was, in fact, the person that ran across the motorway. He has rang off. He said that he would ring back, and he hasn't done so. I would like to say to that youth that I'm investigating a double murder. I am not particularly interested in any motorway offences. If that youth has nothing to fear, then I would ask him to contact me as soon as possible.
Right. And you also had people ringing in with their suspicions. One in particular, I gather, very distressed, suggesting it was someone they knew very, very well and they had good reason to believe so.
Yes, we mentioned earlier that, in fact, someone may have suspicions over a relative. It would appear that the caller has these suspicions, and before he could tell us all the story, he obviously became too distressed and rang off. I could only ask that person to consider what I said earlier and to ask him to contact me as soon as possible.
He can call you here, of course, immediately, or he can call you at the incident room.
Yes, the incident room number is 0533 482400.
Right. Mr. Painter, thanks very much indeed. So,
Well, next the case of the two con women who've walked away with more than £20,000. They've been calling at pensioners' homes, posing as DHSS officials, and persuading them to hand over their pension books on the promise of an increase in heating allowance.
Thanks very much. I'll take this down to the office. You should get it back tomorrow, but anyhow, Wednesday at the latest.
Well, Detective Sergeant Don Bond, you've just told me you've had an overwhelming response and some particular news.
Yes, we've had a fantastic number of replies, almost 100 calls to this extension alone. Some very interesting phone calls, 3 from different sources, all pointing us in the direction of one person, and we should be looking very closely at them. Also some interesting information from Stevenage, where someone was in the area yesterday using this same sort of method, and we'd be interested to hear from anyone else in the Stevenage area. We'd still be interested in a car number. We've had no real information yet on cars, and I think that a car number would be crucial. And can I just make a general reminder that genuine DHSS officials will always have an identification card and will always give an official receipt.
Right, so it looks anyway as though we might just be closer to finding those two women.
Promising, yes, promising.
Let's hope so. Don, thank you very much.
Thank you.
well, we've had 100 calls to Manchester and many more here on the raid a month ago in Hyde in Manchester. A large gang set upon a Securicord delivery, brandishing everything from pistols to, believe it or not, a lollipop. One of those guards was quite badly hurt. There's been another raid subsequently. You've had a large number of calls. How good is the evidence you've been getting?
We're very pleased with the calls up to now. We've had well over 150 calls, actually. And we've got one particular line on one of the getaway vehicles, which is very interesting.
Really? You're being very cagey. You're not going to tell me what it is?
I'm certainly not at this stage, no.
OK. We had a very, very good description of one of the criminals, the one that was brandishing that lolly that we saw in the reconstruction.
Yes.
Here's the video fit. What leads have we got on him?
Well, he's the Harold Lloyd lookalike, and we've had a lot of calls referring to him. And in my opinion, someone out there must know who he is and the rest of the gang involved in the robbery.
I saw that quite a lot of your leads were actually coming from members of the criminal fraternity, or former crooks.
That's correct, yes, particularly in the Manchester area.
Right, there is a big reward for this.
There is indeed. There's a £10,000 reward, and I would ask that someone come forward if they know who has done this particular offence.
Right. Let me just say, incidentally, some people have rung up saying they found the Securicore canisters in which the money was stolen. At least they've seen people with them. It's illegal to hold those, isn't it?
It is indeed, yes.
So if you know anybody who's got a Securicore canister, do give us a do give us a call. Mr. Richardson, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, now to find out what information has been coming through on tonight's incident desk cases, here's first David Hatcher. David, we showed pictures earlier on of Paul Cassidy, who's been wanted in connection with a series of cheque frauds, and there's been a development, I gather.
That's right, yes. We've had about 20 calls here at the studio, Sue. He uses various names, Wilson, Wigley, Goddard and so on, and 3 of those calls have given us some very useful information. One gives us a positive sighting of him in North London. Another one, a lady thinks she had a cup of coffee with him at an airport lounge, and one of the pictures we showed was of him taking one of his holidays on the Costa del Sol. And also there's a possibility of him being involved in a car sale. So we're optimistic there.
So more news possibly coming. And we talked about the show dogs and the guard dogs who have been stolen and taken to other countries.
Yes, everybody sat at home and went, ah, when they saw the pictures of the dogs. We've got 5 of these little characters still outstanding. 2 of them are black and fawn, in fact. They're not all the same colour as these 2 chaps. 2 of them are pale cream, like the ones on the tape there, and there's a fawn one, also outstanding. These could be anywhere. Nobody's told us where they are. We've had a few people ring up saying that they've been offered such dogs. They're Salukis. They're very rare, only a few thousand of them probably in the country. We want to know where they are now, see if we can get them home to their mum for Christmas. Somebody must know.
Right, see if we can find their brothers and sisters. David, thank you.
One of the saddest cases on Incident Desk was that of Thomas Walker, the man who died of a heart attack while he was being attacked in his own home in Holloway in North London. Helen, do we know anything more?
A couple of clues. Firstly, a man was seen talking to Mr. Walker outside his home in Caledonian Road in Holloway. He's described as stocky, early 20s with brown hair.
I know one woman in particular asked us to show this artist's impression again. She's got a thought of who it is. Now, the shoes as well. Lots of people have been ringing up about these shoes. There was an imprint.
That's our main point of concern. They're size 6.5. It's a high-tech Gold League squash shoe. They could have been bought direct from a wholesaler of South, Sun and Whitcomb, close to where Mr. Walker lived.
Now, size 6.5 is very, very small, so that's either a child or a very relatively small man, at any rate.
That's right.
The stolen caravan, very sad story, again because it was a caravan that a disabled couple used for their holidays.
A lot of kind viewers have rung in offering the Cranes other holidays. However, the key point is getting their caravan back to them. Now, one lady would like to see it again. She believes she knows where it is. It's an award tri-star caravan. It's got blue bubble windows and blue coach lines. It has been specially adapted. It's got a 3-foot wide door, and inside it's been made for use of someone in a wheelchair.
Let's see if we can find that one. Have we found the parents of the baby? Photographs that were developed by the police recovered from a camera that itself had been recovered.
We have identified this person. His name is Benjamin.
Ah.
And his grandfather took the snaps of Benjamin and his father some time ago with a Pentax camera. That camera was stolen in a burglary 5 or 6 weeks ago in Cheadle, Greater Manchester.
Gosh, I bet Grandad must have been surprised when grandson comes up on the screen. That's all from Crimewatch for this month, and indeed for this year. Whoever you are, whatever you get up to, have a very happy and good neighbourly Christmas, and whatever happens, don't eat too much, don't drink too much, don't have nightmares, do sleep well. Good night.
Good night.